Now, Victoria's Chamber of Commerce is pressing the state government to start planning a new airport for Melbourne.
It says a third airport will be needed to cope with the city's growing population. Chris James is the Chamber's spokesman and he joins us now in the studio. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
Does Melbourne really need a third airport? It's already got Tullamarine and Avalon. Is there a need for a third one?
Not now, but this is a long-term proposition. We're looking out to 2050 where Melbourne will have a population of 7 to 8 million people. London currently has that population and they have 5 jet airports.
There's a lot of room around. Is there enough room around Tullamarine and Avalon to not just focus on expanding those two rather than getting a third and separate airport into the mix in the future?
Look, we're well serviced to the north of the city and the southwest. There's a gap in the southeast. That's been a massive growth corridor for Melbourne over recent years, stretching out about 70 kilometres. Already commuters out there are having trouble getting to Tullamarine. That's about a 100-kilometre trip from its furthest point. As population increases, traffic congestion will get worse, so hence the need for a third airport.
So if you isolated a spot that you'd like to see it, there's Moorabbin Airport to the southeast, but you'd have a lot of problems getting an airport in there.
Well, I think already there are some issues at Moorabbin and there's a lot of residential encroachment around Moorabbin. We'd be looking somewhere around Tooradin or Tyab, or if there is too much residential encroachment already, probably somewhere further out in South or West Gippsland.
Does that then become too far out to be a viable major airport in the future?
Look, there is a happy medium. There is a point as where an airport would be too far out, and you've got to think of the transport corridors as well. But that really means that we have to start looking now. We have to start reserving the land. We have to start reserving the transport corridors.
Well, you might be in a bit of trouble because it seems that the state government of Victoria has been giving you quite a lukewarm reception to the idea. Were you expecting them to be a bit more embracing of the idea?
Look, we have to realise this is something that's really being driven by our members in South East Melbourne. It's something that we've taken up. It's something that will become increasingly an issue. It's a long-term proposition. We don't expect the state government to take it up straight away, but we're slowly starting the campaign now.
You're getting in very early, that's for sure.
Well, there's also always the travel issue with getting to Melbourne Airport. It doesn't have a rail link. Obviously, you'd have better rail facilities out in the southeast. Is that something that you're looking at longer term as well?
Very much so. The rail link to Melbourne Airport is probably something that won't be economical for another 10 or 20 years, but we do have to reserve the corridors for rail out to the southeast as well.
And just finally, the Victorian government under Baillieu has really pushed ahead with expanding the Port of Hastings, which is also in the southeast, and that's likely to lead to a lot of transport links in the region as well. Do you see any possibilities for integration there?
Yes, there are potential synergies, particularly if you put the airport around Tyab or Tooradin.
All right. Thanks very much for joining us, Chris James, and running us through the need. I'm sure if it becomes anywhere near as controversial an idea as trying to fix up Sydney's airport situation, we'll be hearing plenty more about it.
Very much so. Thank you.